Greetings BookTube, I'm Anders and this is my June wrap-up. Sorry about the bad lighting and if I'm talking quietly, it's at night and people are sleeping in the other rooms. This month I reread a lot of books. I still managed to read a few that I hadn't read before. In total I read 17 novels, 2 non-fiction books and 1 short story. So let's get into it. Let's start with the books I hadn't read before. First, The Shepherd's Crown by Terry Pratchett. This is the 41st and last Discworld novel. It's the 5th that has the young witch Tiffany Aching as the main character. I can't really tell you too much about the plot because it will spoil a lot of the other Discworld novels. I can, however, highly recommend reading the Discworld novels, especially if you like fantasy and humor. I give it 4 stars. And then we have Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. This book is about Kath and her twin sister Ren. Kath writes fanfic about Simon Snow, which is her world's Harry Potter. Being a Simon Snow fangirl in high school was okay, but now that she's in college, it's quite different. I'm not sure I'm the target audience for this book, but I do enjoy writing and I am a loner. However, for some reason, this book just didn't click for me. The parts I really enjoyed were when Kath and her roommate Reagan were alone. I was actually really looking forward to reading this book because I heard a lot about it on BookTube. And maybe that's the reason I got disappointed. My expectations were too high for it. It took about half the book for me to get into the writing style, but in the end I gave it 3.5 stars. Next we have Kill the Boy Band by Goldie Moldavsky. It's about a group of 4 girls who's really into the Ruperts, which is the most popular boy band in their world. They even go so far as to get a hotel room at the same hotel that the boys are at, just so that they could accidentally bump into them, and one thing leads to another and they end up with one of the boys unconscious in their hotel room, and from there things get a bit interesting. I really enjoyed the writing style. It's told by one of the girls after all of it happened, sort of like a journal, but not quite like a journal. Anyhow, I gave it 4 stars. And the last book that I hadn't read before was The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King. This is something as unusual as a fantasy book by Stephen King. The narration kind of reminds me of a fairy tale. It does have some magic, it has dragons, it has a battle between good and evil, so it's actually very much like an old fairy tale. The main story revolves around King Roland, his 2 sons, Peter and Thomas, and the king's magician Flag. Flag wants more power and he does what he can to take out people on his way to get there. I don't know how much more I can say without spoiling anything. One thing that I shouldn't forget is that this is the 3rd book I read this year, I think, that has a character called Anders in it. And unlike the other 2 books, the character is actually alive in this one. Even though the book felt a bit slow at times, I really liked it and I give it 4 stars. That was all of the books I hadn't read before, so now we go into my rereads. First, the non-fiction books, Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshops and More Weird Things Customers Say in Bookshop, both by Jen Campbell. These books are just amazing. Jen Campbell used to work in bookshops and during the years she wrote down everything stupid or silly or cute that customers said to her, and then she put them in these 2 books. Some of the things, especially things said by kids, are really cute, and some that are said by adults are just, well, weird. If you have an hour or 2, you really should pick these up and read them. Highly recommend them. I gave both of them 5 stars. And now for the novels I reread. First, I read the whole Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. It's The Philosopher's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, The Goblet of Fire, The Order of the Phoenix, The Half-Blood Prince, and finally The Deathly Hallows. Do I really have to say anything about these books? Really? I gave the series as a whole 4.5 stars. The other series that I reread was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This book contains the first 5 novels and a short story, all written by Douglas Adams. The novels are The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, The Restaurant at the End of the Universe, Life, the Universe and Everything, So Long and Thanks for All the Fish, and Mostly Harmless. And the short story is called Young Safehold Plays It Safe. A brief synopsis. One Thursday morning, Arthur Dent, a typical British man, finds that big yellow bulldozers are trying to demolish his house to build bypass. Arthur's best friend, Ford Prefect, who is not an unemployed actor from Guildford as he's been claiming for 15 years, but he's actually an alien from the vicinity of Beetlejuice, basically comes and tells Arthur that he has bigger problems than his house being demolished. By midday he's proven right when a huge yellow spaceship comes to demolish Earth in order to build a galactic expressway. And Ford brings Arthur and hitches a ride with the spaceships just before Earth is destroyed, and from there the adventures begin. This is probably my favorite series of all times, and I've reread it several times and I gave it 5 stars. Then we have And Another Thing by Owen Colfer. This is the 6th book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy trilogy. It says here, part 6 of 3. And it was written after Douglas Adams died. This book is not worth it. Just read the first 5 and be done with it. For one, it's almost twice as long as any of the other books. It's probably more than twice as long as some of them. But unlike the other ones, this one only have 12 chapters. The other ones have between 25 and 40-ish. And something that really bugged me about it was that it spent a lot of these pages following characters that are not the main characters. And also, in the first 5 books, there are some extracts from the guide, once every few chapters. In this one, there are several in each chapter. Sometimes it's several in just a few pages. And these don't give anything to the plot. It just stops and goes through something that has nothing to do with the plot. And then you have to pick up the speed again. It kind of felt like he was trying to be as funny as Douglas Adams naturally is, and he failed miserably. I gave it 3 stars. I guess that's about it for now, so until next time.